What is poppin'? It is the Slapton. I am but a lowly Slapton riding these DeFi waves, and this is This Week in Klima DAO, where I give you all of the Klima DAO news that is fit to go ape wild over. It was a relatively slow week for Klima in terms of major partnerships and announcements, but that doesn't mean that the Klima ecosystem sleeps, and it certainly doesn't mean that ReFi sleeps. And one of the things that I've started to do with my main man Rez, who is a carbon markets whiz, is do This Week in ReFi. If you want to take a look at that, I will leave a link above my finger. But without further ado, let's get into Klima. So one of the things that was mentioned during the office hours was that through Klima retirement functionality, over 100,000 tons, or approximately 100,000 tons, have been retired, which is really cool. And I have this dashboard. Well, it's not just me. Anybody has access to this dashboard, but I wanted to draw it to your attention in case you didn't have it, which doesn't show the Klima retirement, but it shows all VCUs, all Vera credits that have been retired in aggregate. So this includes everything from C3, Moss, and Toucan, and it could be retirement outside of Klima. It's an interesting thing to take a look at because I think it shows adoption. And what you're seeing right now is over 250,000 VCUs, Vera credits, have been retired on chain, 250,000, which shows the tremendous progress of adoption of on-chain carbon credits and retirement functionality. Now, this will only grow with time and as utility gets built out. And so I will draw your attention to the next thing, which is this cross-chain functionality. I mentioned this last week and This Week in Klima, but right now what is live for this functionality is just cross-chain Klima staking, which is a nice function, meaning if you have assets on another chain, you can hit one button and you can transfer those assets to Klima, staked Klima, and you can be done. Well, coming soon, according to office hours, will also be bonding and offsetting. So the cool thing about that is it will offer up the functionality of offsetting to anybody who has assets on any number of the chains that are compatible with this functionality, which is quite a lot, right? So you can see that this ecosystem is growing and becoming more user-friendly. And speaking of cross-chain, or thinking about other chains and how perhaps they can be used to offset or targeted for offsetting, it was mentioned during office hours that Ethereum may be a juicy target. Ethereum will be moving from proof of work, which is relatively energy expensive and has relatively high carbon emissions, to proof of stake. Hopefully soon. It's been in the works for quite some time. But the expectations are that that will be hopefully within the year. So once it moves to proof of stake, the historical proof of work carbon emissions will be known. That old system, we can calculate how many carbon credits would be needed to offset the carbon footprint of the old system. Now, it's hard to pin this exactly, but this is one estimate that it has it at 15.6 megatons. I believe that's million tons. So imagine if Klima is working right now on getting in front of the Ethereum people to have them offset their historical proof of work footprint with Klima. So that is an example of where Klima could go. Right now, where we've been and where we are is 100,000 credits, and that's no small feat, wonderful, but there are certainly bigger fish to fry off-chain and on-chain, and this is an example of that. Obviously, the team will keep you posted, and I will as well. The last thing I want to mention is this C3 gauge. I did a video about this as well, above this finger right here. If you want to take a look at me aping irresponsibly into C3, of course, that's a joke, but not really. I just YOLO'd it. You can take a look at that. But basically what's happening here is you can take your wrap stake Klima and you can lock it. You can trade your liquidity for C3 rewards. C3 is a governance token. And right now, at the time of shooting this video, the total value locked of wrap stake Klima is over 2 million, 3 or 4 million dollars USD worth of wrap stake Klima has been locked up, has been made illiquid inside of this gauge, which shows a level of trust and a level of confidence in wrap stake Klima long term. And I believe the analysis that was mentioned during office hours was the average lock time is 6 months, showing that people are long when they're locking up this Klima. If you want to see how long I locked up for, check that video link that I sent to you. And really, that's it. So that was This Week in Klima. Like I said before, I will leave a link to everything that I've talked about, as well as This Week in ReFi, if you want a broader, longer form conversation about this space. As always, make sure to ape responsibly, would ya? And I'll catch you on the next one. Peace, dudes and dudettes.